informal chat. If you want to make some coffee while Johnny's speaking, that's okay. Please just relax. Johnny and I met, as we mentioned earlier today, at the co-op in Balfour when I saw this bike.
You did?
And
so what's that?
Yeah. What have you done to this? So you can explain the story and the way you take it. Yeah. You want to take any questions while you...
Yeah, let's make it interactive, right? Don't just listen to me for half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever.
We're also going to talk about the sticker checklist.
Yes. I would like to get some support for that. That'd be amazing.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks, Stacey. Yeah. Morning. We still morning?
Morning.
And I've met some of you. So I've sneaked in at the back. I haven't met, I don't think, but come for just a talk, so that's great. So yeah, my name's Johnnie Spitfire. I will explain why you're all going, he's mad, which is fine, I am mad. I'm going to take you through building that, which is a BMW R45. You don't have to remember that. It's an R45. So, it's called, I've entitled this Building the Cafe Racer. So who doesn't know what a cafe racer is? There's a couple of non-bikers here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody else. So a cafe racer is a style of bike. It's a bike that's styled in a certain way. That's kind of it. Although I'd argue this is a cafe scrambler rather than a cafe racer. So there's a few sort of design cues for the design in the room. There's a designer in the room. What's the designer got?
I'm here as well.
Designer too, yeah. So there's a few things, and we'll talk about what that means. But there's a lot of history with this bike for me, so I just want to take you through a bit of a story, really. But yeah, let's make it interactive. Talk. I've got lots of pictures, and we'll go through it. I might even make it start up at the end and make a bit of noise as well. Yeah. We've got some BMW fans. Who's a BMW fan? Excellent. I noticed there's quite a few areas out there. That's amazing. Best bikes. So that's me. I am currently running I've done 25 years in the Microsoft industry, so I'm a technology guy. I was a director at Microsoft in the UK for digital. That's this role here. They call it employee experience. That's all the tools that Microsoft use. But I did 5 years, just retired in May with the Royal Auxiliary Air Force. Might explain the name a little bit. And I've just set up about a year ago a startup called Mission AI, which is my company that actually does AI training and adoption. So while at Microsoft, I was responsible for rolling out this thing called Copilot, for those in the tech world. Microsoft Copilot. Who's heard of Microsoft Copilot? Some, not everybody. Yeah, that's their AI tool. That's Microsoft's tool. That's what I do in the day. But yeah, my other last 5 or 6 years, little pictures from me, that's the Johnnie Spitfire bit. I was in the Auxiliary Air Force. I retired last May. Served in Oman, Cyprus, Sweden, NATO exercises. I was a tanker driver, a fuel guy. So I joined what's called MT, 605 Logistics Squadron, which is an auxiliary squadron based at RAF Cosford. Anybody been to the museum, Cosford? Yeah, fantastic, isn't it? Love it. Yeah, it's an amazing place. Been there a few times. So I was based there, went through basic training in 2020. They trained me on all the trucks. The Air Force basically give you all the truck licenses. I ended up fueling, that's an Oshkosh tanker in Oman in 24. So I was with the Typhoons, wherever the Typhoons go, the tanker guys go, and I was one of those tanker guys. So, very passionate about that. And yeah, I got to fly a Spitfire last year for my birthday. So, I also changed my name to Johnnie Spitfire by default. Before And this is over Norway, so you can fly a 2-seater if anybody fancies it. Anybody else flown a Spitfire? Just me.
Not flown one, but me and Camilla have been in one of the only surviving ones down at Norway.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Well, I was born in Stoke-on-Trent, which, if anybody knows the history of the Spitfire, Reginald Mitchell was the designer of the Spitfire, was born in Stoke-on-Trent, and there was a Spitfire in Stoke-on-Trent in the museum as a child, and I saw that as a child in Hanley. Still there, Reginald Mitchell. And of course, Derby, the Merlin engine, Rolls-Royce, yeah, massive in Derby. So it's been in my life all my life. And then I joined the RAF in 2020, so I thought, and I went to Norway actually on an exercise called Winter March last March. cold weather survival, and they've done this Spitfire. Norwegian millionaire has got all of this Spitfire that was in a bar with a story in France, at York on a tangent. And he did it up, and you can book those passenger rides, which is amazing. If you get the chance and you've got a few £1,000s in the bank, and you fancy spending a few £1,000s, I'd highly recommend it. You can do it in the UK. You can do it down in Biggin Hill.
Biggin Hill.
Yeah.
4.5, I think it is.
4.5, yeah. Still in there. By the time you got to Oslo.
4.5? What?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Krona, yes indeed, yeah. It was still £4,500.
With Norwegian oil.
Yes.
We started it off as graduate.
I love this, let's have it. So, yeah, so that's the Johnnie Spitfire bit. So it isn't just me going, I want to be good. I did change my name. I was in the RAF. I have flown the Spitfire in the last 12 months. None of you have. So I can call myself Johnnie Spitfire, can't I? Legitimately. So, bikes, cars, probably a lot of chaps in this room where it's my dad's fault. You know, at a young age, father is that person who goes, we're going to play on this bike or this car, or we're going to do this. That's my sort of 90 vehicles.
Currently, or over?
No, over time. Over time, yeah. And they're very small, but there's all sorts of stuff in there, and I'm not testing you on it.
There's a lot of rust there as well, too.
There's a lot of rust.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old bangers like Morris Miners, Land Rovers, Triumph Arrows.
Yeah.
I did an MGB, a couple of them, Spitfire. First cars, which are next door, Minis, Vauxhall Vivas we were looking at. I got into Opel Mantas in the 80s. BMWs, Jaguars, Daimlers, Jeeps. I was in, so lots and lots.
What is that number 59? What is that?
What's 59? Where's this one? This one? PT Cruiser convertible. Pile of shit, pile of shit. But I had two of them actually, left-hand drive.
You didn't learn.
I imported one from America. America, brand new, and brought it back to the UK as left-hand drive. How stupid is that?
That's great.
That's stupid. Why would you import such a terrible car?
How many midlife crisis?
But I did, a red one. There's the red PT 2000, that was. There, that one, number 20, yeah? Yeah, anyway. So it's my dad's fault. Then I got into bikes as a child, of course, about 13, 14. I've had 14 bikes at the moment. Me and Michael were talking on the walk there about this one, weren't we? The MT1036. You've got a couple of sidecars, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I got into a Russian sidecar unit, which is actually a copy of this bike. So the Ural, which Michael's got a couple of, and the Dnieper, which was built in Kiev, is a Russian copy of the BMW Vauxhall, and they got the design in the war, and they built their sidecars. So yeah, I did like CVT, but I got into older bikes, I got into BMWs, got into that sidecar which I built, and then I started to build this back in 2014, so I'll take you through that. And then right the way up to today, K100s, K75s, 3, 4 K bikes, my other K bikes downstairs, K75, just bought that. R100 TS, had one of those briefly. R1100 RS, K1100 RS. So yeah, BMW sort of caught me really. Right, first bikes, the older ones, guess. Bike on the left, who can tell me what that is?
NSU.
Yes. What's the model?
Quickly.
Yeah. Anybody else heard of an NSU Quickly? They sold 1 million NSU Quicklys. NSU became Audi. Have you drive an Audi? NSU was the brand that did lots of mopeds, and there was 1 million of those in the 50s here, wasn't it? I just bought one. That's the secret. 959. Yeah, the cheapest chips though, they're £1,000, right? So it's a 50cc, so everyone that was around the back streets. Then this one, anybody remember what that is?
Is that
No.
Gilera?
A what?
150.
Fizz bomb, no.
150 Gilera.
Gilera. Yeah, exactly that. It's 125. I think.
125.
Yeah, 125 Gilera, yeah. Also terrible, I tell you, we've got pedals. Both of these have got pedals, yeah, so they're mopeds, right? You can pedal them as the engine goes uphill and it struggles with pedaling. So those are my first bikes back at sort of 14 years old, before I got the Mini and then the Vauxhall Viva. Done lots of projects, got into Triumph Arrows when I was about 18, 19. MGB, I took a body shell when I was about 19 on my dad's drive, and he was costing me, but anyway, we did that. And I've built a few others since. Got into Land Rovers. Anybody into Land Rovers? Yeah, any Land Rover owners? Used to be. Series Landy, that's Bertie. The trouble with Land Rovers is you give them names. That's bad, because then they get in your blood and you can't get rid of them. So like Bertie and Sean and Beatrice, that was the purple one. I justified that I bought it for my daughter.
And that's why you made it purple?
No, this is my first one. That's me in 1968, that's my dad's Landy. That's me in 1968. And then of course, in the RAF, I went to drive the military version, the Defender, which are now going out of service for the military. So I did off-road GS conversion in 23. And I bought a Ben. Look, you know, they're cold. Other than in the summer, they're really cold. So. Right, let's get round to this. So the R45 story, right? I bought a box of bits off eBay, right? That terrible platform that we all go. So, and I thought, I did that Russian sidecar, and I thought, I need another one in the bike. I love the sidecar. I did that, and then I got the bug. So I bought this, and that's how I went to fetch it.
How much did it cost you, John?
Sorry?
How much did it cost you, that box?
You know, I think it's about 500 quid. Yeah, 500 quid, frame, no tyres, no electrical system, no, lots of bits missing. But the guy had done a few things. So I got the Land Rover, so the Landy Bertie went down to Warrington, picked all this shit up, put it in the Landy, walked back, put it on the floor, thought, what the hell am I going to do with this? I've never built one of them before. Some of the parts had been powder coated, so that was good news. He'd already done some of the hard work, but he'd given up. The guy had given up. And then it gets very serious very quickly. Because you go, yeah, I then started to take the thing apart. The engine was like this, you know, and one of the pistons was cracked, and so I started to take the engine apart and rebuild that. Then it's like, you've got to do a new clutch, so let's do the clutch. Then you've got to paint the thing, put it back together. So it gets very serious very quickly. And then I wanted to establish a look, really, because I didn't want to build it back to an original. I'd seen these bikes. I'd also seen the Steve McQueen film, right, with the Triumph, right, the jumping Triumph, which was supposed to be a BMW, wasn't it? Yeah, The Great Escape?
Yeah, really? What is it?
The Triumph.
It was supposed to be BMW.
It was supposed, well, of course, the German army used the box for BMW, right? And so all the bikes in World War II were BMWs as Undabs, German bikes. But the one he used in the movie was a Triumph mocked up to look like a BMW.
The Germans did actually have Triumphs.
Did they? Right, the little ones.
Yeah, little ones.
Yeah. But the one he ripped around the fields in Switzerland was supposed to be a German bike. It was a really Triumph. He never did the jump like that. But anyway, that was the bike that I thought I'd like something like that, a bit meaty. So these tyres, which are a big part of this look, they're called Continental TKC80 knobbly tyres. So that was a bit, I thought, right, I'm going to make it look a bit like that Steve McQueen thing. That's the rear diff, and I started to put it on the bench, yeah. So, electricals. So no electrical system when it arrived, no loom of any description. So then you have to go, right, what the hell connects to what? And it's a straightforward thing, we'll just get into it. Even if you've not done it before, I think, you know, all the information's out there. YouTube is your friend. The internet's got the wiring diagrams. The Haynes manual is going to give you everything you need. So I got into the electrical system. I modified and upgraded it as well as I went along. Because a big part of these is, you know, although it's actually an electronic ignition, it's one of the very early ones. This is 1981, by the way, as a bike. So it's one of the very first bikes that had the push start electrical ignition. You've got to get the electrics in good shape, right, from a charging point of view and a starting point of view. So this one's got no kickstart, so it is just a push button start. It's good. So yeah, I got the wiring loom off eBay. I started to put the engine back together. Brakes and tanks. So again, lots of rusty parts, so you end up buying all sorts of things. The tank that came with it was awful, so I had to get another tank, another fuel tank. I think I've been through 3 fuel tanks. Started to put the thing back together and make it mechanically sound. You're then going to strip it back. You're going to strip it back to zero, really, and pretty much everything's going to need painting at some point, whether you paint it or you get somebody else to paint it. So I started to strip all the brake calipers down, all the components of the part, and I even got into painting the tank, but I'm not a painter. I thought I'll give it a go, you know, that'll come from Halfords, what could go wrong? So, started to paint everything. And then with the cafe racer, one of the things about a cafe racer, I'm pointing here, the back end, cafe racers are usually designed to be a shorter structure than a standard bike. So what you do is you cut the back off, which sounds like sacrilege, but in a cafe racer you've got to kind of shorten the back, at least shorten the visual style of the bike. So on this, you see the seat's short, but I actually cut and welded a shorter hoop at the back. That's a typical thing you're going to do on a cafe racer. You're going to shorten the back, you're going to put a hoop in it. So the bike finishes here. Generally, it's going to be a single-seater. There's a cafe racer or a cafe scrambler. So at that point, you've got to learn how to weld, right? If you've never welded before. So I got myself an electric welder and learned how to weld, and that didn't go so well, but it did work. I did get it there and then. Ended up burning through a lot of metal.
I wanted to say, it's nice that you actually took a picture of the bird.
Yes, nice, isn't it? Lovely welding there. You see the quality of my welding. Yeah, terrible. But and then when you because I've actually gone back to a full-size frame now. So this is because you can replace the back end on these as like a subframe. Because I want two up sometime, my partner likes going on the back of this Helen. So I've got a seat which is a two-seat. So I've gone back now from this shorter hoop, which was only single seat, to the original frame. But the cafe racer style, when I finished it, was that shortened hoop. So it's very much part of getting that cafe look. And by the way, the cafe thing, where's the cafe thing called? What was the cafe called down south where they did the ton up down the roundabout? Ace Cafe. Yeah, Ace Cafe. So it really spans from that, kind of turning up at the cafe with the modified Triumph Norton BSA and having a race, right? The cafe racer, right? That's where that title comes from. And then you've got Cafe Scrambler. You've got variants of that, so that's the cafe. Yeah, the Ace Cafe, yeah. Anyway, so I did that, got the back end sorted, and then I was like, the big part of this bike was about the front end. I didn't want the original instrumentation, so I went in a bit of a sort of, right, what am I going to do up here? I want this to look old, I want it to look kind of 40s, military style. So I went on a couple of the BMW forums. If there's a whole world of people that will help you with this stuff. I put a post out and said, you know, what should I do about the front? What headlamp? How should I do this? Or otherwise, it's just going to look like a standard bike. There's a really nice guy out there with an MZ. And he said, I've got an old MZ headlamp, which is an Eastern European bike, isn't it? Yeah. So he said, I'll send it.
Germany.
From East Germany. Yeah. East Germany, yeah. So that is an MZ headlamp. And this actually makes, I think you'll agree, that's kind of a big part of the look of the bike, is that big, oversized headlamp. So that's a sort of a 1970s. Now the original older BMWs that these were designed on, the 40s and 30s, were the same thing. The speedo was always in the headlamp, and the ignition and the electrical system was always in the headlamp. So this is the key to the bike, yeah? And start it up in a minute. So you have to then rewire everything not into a traditional ignition switch, but into this, lights and ignition. So that was a big part of the look, really. So I got this guy sent it me, and he just posted it, and I was like, lovely. Didn't even ask for any money. Lovely chat. Yeah, cool. There's so many lovely people in the bike world that will do, they've got bits in your garage, haven't you, Michael? You think, you know what, somebody can use it, you can have it. And so that's what happened to that. I was originally going to put the backlight off with MZ, but it didn't do much for me, so I decided not to. So, project carried on. So then I had to strip that down. So that's a little mini project in itself, yeah? Trying to figure out how the hell the speedo is going to work, how the key works, how you're going to wire it to start up through a thing that you've never dealt with before. So I stripped that back, the 40s look, and I got that to sort of that stage. I mean, it's now looking a little bit shabby chic, which is the look I had. Then it was the seat. The seat was the next thing. What do you do with the seat? Well, you get a saw, don't you? That's what you do if you want a short seat. You get a saw. So I got another seat, yeah, and I put it on the bench, and I thought, oh, I can't like that, you know, my design skills. I want it back there. So I got my saw, like that, yeah. I got my saw, and I cut it. And then I sent it off to a trimmer, because I can't trim a seat. But I found a guy in Birmingham who if you send him your seat base and your phone, he'll do the nice cover, which is what's on there now. I just said, I want a brown seat, and could you please do that for me? And he did. And then, you know, the thing keeps progressing, you get there, and eventually, a couple of months went by, it started to keep drilling in the garage, and all of a sudden this thing starts to take shape. Any questions, by the way? No? Fascinating, right? Well,
You're beggars.
How much did you think it would cost them by this stage?
Yeah.
And what is happening to you?
Well, you start to lose track of any idea of budget when you do what It's best not to think about it.
Yeah.
It's best not to think about it. You know, you start off with your 500 quid, and then it's, you know, another tank, there's another 80, and then you say, oh, I need some pens, so there's another 150, and then the exhausts are another 200, and then the tyres are another 200. And it's just drip, drip, drip there. That's the thing with a project like this, right? It's not a big bang thing. So you're sneaking money out of the joint account, right, basically, to sort of do, yeah, just gradually, right, drip feeding, right, so the missus doesn't pick it up. So that's what I did. I've never added up the total cost. I mean, it's not a massive expensive thing, but it's thousands in the end, isn't it? Yeah. And that's what it looked like again. That's pretty much what the bike looks like today, except you can see that shortened back end, really, so that that wasn't capable of putting the dual seat back on. And then I rethought that and thought actually it is useful to be able to carry a passenger.
How do you collect the bit that you chopped off, or did you have to go and buy new tubes to put the back end on?
I had to go and buy a new back end, yeah, because I chucked it away thinking I'll never use that again. Chucked it away, so then I had to go on eBay and buy another back end. So I chucked it away, and now that's gone because I'm never going to go back to that. This is the smallest BMW that they ever made, actually. From a modern time point of view anyway. So this is originally an R45, which is a 450. It was designed for learners, so it's kind of a 3/4 scale, slightly smaller than the you guys R100s and R80s out there. Yeah? The R45 was designed to a particular horsepower category in Germany for learner riders. So it's pretty much, it's not scaled back, but it's a small, if you get on it, it feels a lot smaller than the R100s today.
21 brake horsepower.
That's it, 21 brake horsepower, so pretty much nothing. It's now technically a 650, because the engine is exactly the same in the 650, the 80, the 100, there's different bottom ends and stuff, but it's now a 650. So I put the brand new pots on the side and the bigger carbs that makes this a 650. So technically it's an R65, but it was registered and is an R45, so it's the smallest bike. But it's now got, I don't know, 30 or 40 brake horsepower. Nothing, but it's lovely to ride. Yeah. Then the story. So I built it in 2014. I then decided I was going to work in Dubai. I got a job in the Middle East. And rather than leave it here, because it had been such a passion project, I decided crazily to take it to Dubai. So in 2016, I exported it from the United Kingdom to the Middle East. And this is the guy who turns up from the Dubai motor vehicle to give you your motor vehicle plate. So you rock up with the documents, and it travelled all the way. So basically it got crated up, and it went down and through the Suez Canal in a box. And ended up with me around Oman here, where all the trouble is right now. And I was living in Dubai. They didn't have any other bike in Dubai called an R45, so they had to make that vehicle up because they've never had one. And you get the export-import things, and it cost a fortune, and it was a bit crazy. But then basically, a couple of months later, it turned up, and a load of chaps turned up with a pickup truck outside my apartment and said, your bike's here. And they literally manhandled it physically off the back of a pickup truck. You know, it's like 8 of them lifting this bike off the back, which was a bit nuts. And but there's actually a massive scene in the Middle East, a cafe racer scene. So I got involved then with these guys, Cafe Racers Middle East. What they do is they meet at this burger joint on the beach road, and they buzz up and down the beach, just like we buzz up and down tomorrow. And there was actually an article published on it then by this organisation, a thing called Retro Airhead Cafe Racers Middle East. And so they covered the whole story. And I was lucky enough then to ride it while I was in the Middle East for a couple of years. And that's, I don't know if anybody been to Dubai?
Yes.
Yes, been to Dubai?
And Oman.
And Oman?
Yeah.
You've travelled, haven't you? So that in the background then, you recognise that? Burj Al Arab. That's the Burj, that big 5-star hotel. Yeah, and this is the beach. So I drove it on the beach, not that you drive this very far on the beach, right? But I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get down to the front. I'm going to put it on the beach. And it kind of looked the part in the sun, I have to say, really. So I used it, I joined the sailing club there in Dubai, and I used this to go to the sailing club and back in my shorts, no protective gear whatsoever, bar helmet. Very safe. Not, but that's Dubai. You're not going to wear your leathers when you are from I never did. if you're on the motorway, you'd wear your leathers, but just round town. So I use this as transport then in the Middle East. So I had a car, but I took this with me. So it was a great thing to have over there. There wasn't anything like it. Probably still isn't, actually. And of course, at the end of that, I decided I was going to bring it back. So then I re-imported it back into the United Kingdom in 2018 when I came back. Had to re-register it and get its original plate back, because the plate goes, of course, when you export it. So DKA 51X, I got that plate back, it was reallocated to the bike, so it was registered in the Middle East with the Dubai plate, that was given back to Dubai, and it came here again, and that's the state you see it in there. So the current state is 2 up, yeah, so the seat there, as you can see, and full panniers, it will go back to looking almost like a full regular bike, except that you know, we've got different mud guards and we've got that different headlamp and different handlebars. So the stance and the style is still there, but ultimately I can kind of disguise it and use it to go shopping and do what I want on it. So it's kind of the best of both worlds really in that respect. Now, another thing, any questions on that? Any questions on any of that? That's kind of most of the build.
Were you, you know, you were talking about the electrics, were you seduced at any point by the Moto gadget and all that sort of side of things?
When you say motor gadgets, you mean the new wiring pieces like the BEPs and stuff like that? Yeah, no, never. I have had those used. That's basically a box that will allow you to convert old wiring into new speedos and digital speedos. No, I mean, I went very much down there. I'm just going to wire this up and I'm going to find how the speedo cable can go there. Luckily, this 1981 model was fitted with the Garmin GPS from the factory.
Is it?
Yeah, this was a factory option. Yeah, this is it. He's looking at me going, no. so that's the speedo. Yeah, because that speedo is an MZ Eastern European speedo. It's about 10 mile an hour out, right? So this is the thing I turn on every time I get on the bike, and I do hopefully not get speeding tickets, you know, because I've got to do 30 of them. This probably says you're doing 20 or something. So yeah, I was never tempted with that. I wanted to keep it simple to maintain. I have upgraded the charging system to there's a thing called an EnduroLast 450, which is a big, powerful charging system, because the charging system on these is on an old diode board, which is pretty awful, and they go bad. So I replaced that. It's got a big alternator on it, and it's got a different electronic ignition, because it's electronic ignition, it's part mechanical, part electronic. So I've got Siemens beam cam for those that have been in this world. So it's upgraded from an electrical point of view, but I never wanted to go to digital speed. I've kept it with that old school style. Yeah. Any other questions?
How did you learn to do all this stuff?
Well,
YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube's your friend. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, you saw the thing with my dad, you know, I was into cars and stuff and bikes at an early age, but you just go down the journey to look into each part at a time. So you spend a lot of reading, it's all out there. And there's huge communities of BMW, any bike, have got a forum where you post a question and the day later 3 people come back with the answer. I've just done it on the K-bike, you know, what's wrong with the gearbox leak? He said, oh, it's probably that rubber on the bottom. I went, yeah, okay, great, save me taking the gearbox off. So there's people out there like me that answer questions and run these forums. YouTube, there's loads of people that have done this, and so there's so much information out there. There's documented stories of building them. So it's not hard, you don't have to know anything. You need a Haynes manual, the internet. There's a thing called the BMW Max, which is an American supplier of BMW parts. They've got a fiche, so they've got every exploded component of all the BMW models, every bit. So you can literally get down to the part number for every nut, bolt, washer, line, and then you can look on eBay for that part, or you can look on the internet. So you can get anything, you can get everything. So you can explode the bike. So those are the 2-3 things I did really to get to this.
There's a website, a YouTube German, SWT, and he's got a shop, and he builds like enduros, GSs, and also sidecar. He actually races airheads, and that's very good. And he's got all the latest parts and everything.
Yeah, there's loads of these guys.
SW, he's in good area, SWT.
There we go.
Silly question.
Yeah, well,
So, how comfortable are they?
really comfortable. Yeah, I mean, it's because it's actually an R45, it's quite small. You know, I mean, it's, you know, for a man or woman, it's, you know, you can get your feet down pretty flat. It's a very easy bike to ride. It's really good around the corners, very gentle, it's very slow, pots along. I mean, it'll do 70 if push it. It probably would have done 100 when it was on normal tyres. But, you know, for day-to-day riding, it keeps up with traffic. It's really simple to ride. It's very calm. It makes a nice noise. We'll start it up in a second. But, yeah, really easy to ride, really easy to handle, not too heavy. And because it's kind of a three-quarter BMW almost, it's a little bit more new biker friendly.
Because some of the cafe races have got this little bit of a angle on it, isn't it?
Yeah, cafe races are kind of more extreme in that they tend to go bars down at the front,
Yes.
and they tend to go more racer position. That wasn't for me. I didn't want that kind of in the haunch kind. I wanted the upright, so I got these risers fitted, Renthal riser bars. I wanted the scrambler upright, comfort position really. So that's a decision you have to make. A lot of people love the cafe racer style, but then you are going to be going at it, you know.
30 miles later, you can't get off the bike.
Yeah, and your back's in pain and you can't walk, so it depends how old you are, so whether that's for you or not. But,
Johnny,
yes,
there was an original airhead. It's an inevitable question.
yes,
In original condition.
yes.
So it's an open-ended question. Would you personally, or would you recommend an original in fairly good condition be converted, or would you say, well, look, if it's in boxes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't have its original parts, you're gonna have to add
Yeah.
50% of the parts.
Yeah.
You get the opportunity to create something
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah, I think
What's
it's
your take on that?
yeah, I think it's a bit of sacrilege if it's actually genuinely original and in good shape and is usable in that way, then keep it like that. And we should try and retain that originality. However, if you're going to pick up a box of bits or something that's full, you know, it's half not working, do what you want. It's yours, right? And that's what I did. I was like, you know what, this can be what I want it to be. And then you go looking for an image of what you want it to be, and then you can make that your own, you know. And I think we're all entitled to do what the hell we like with our own stuff, right? However, I wouldn't go and buy any of the boxes that are downstairs and go, right, I'm going to rip that apart. I think that is sacrilege. You know, cut weld the frame, turn it, and that's what's happening, unfortunately. There's a million of these been made, and of course they fetch a lot more money when they look like that than when they're an original bike, which is nuts because it's the same bike, right? But they're fetching £7,000, £8,000, £9,000, whereas original bikes are fetching £2,000, £3,000, £4,000. So it's a shame, and that's what's happened in you know, cafe races have been very popular. So I've got both original bikes, and I like the fact that I've got this in the way. What happens when you do this project is that it becomes part of you. Your soul becomes a bit of it when you've laboured over it, designed it, toiled, had a million hours thinking about how you would solve the headlight problem, whatever else. It just becomes part of you, and so, you know, it's an interesting one. It's not just a bike anymore. And then when you go on a journey like I've done with it, and you take it to another place, and you do straight, you know, I've done lots of these charity rides with it. It just is who you are. It becomes part of your character. You know, who you are as a person, so it embodies you then. That's the interesting
Is it
thing.
registered as a historic vehicle?
Yes, so it's over 40 years old, it's tax-free and MOT-free. That's the good news about anything over 40 years old. 1981, and then there's all the bikes out here. If you're interested, I've got a website called Motors Reunited, which is all about reuniting and registering old vehicles and finding old vehicles. So this and others that I've had, and other cars, this is motorsreunited.com. The other bit I wanted to just briefly talk to you about was the DGR, yeah? So if you haven't done the DGR, the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, and you've got a bike, first of all get a bike, do the DGR. It's an amazing ride. There's a Derbyshire ride on the 17th of May. It's an international event. It's in Sydney, London, America, every city you've got a ride. Yeah, I did it in Derbyshire last year. This is this one here. This is Lancashire ride a couple of years ago. All sorts of bikes take part, and we raise money for men's mental health and also suicide prevention, as I said at the start. That's the link. I organised the East Cheshire ride. You can become a marshal, you can become an organiser, or you can just ride it. The interesting thing is you ride it in tweed or a suit. So it's
I haven't got a tweed jacket.
have you got a tweed jacket?
My gran gave me one when I went to AT University in 1977, because that's what students wore, apparently. But I got rid of it very quickly.
But you go to the charity shop, the air ambulance shop in Belper, or Matlock, and there's a million tweed jackets.
Or you go to an even better place, you go to Alfreton,
Yes.
and it's called the Anger,
Okay.
and it's like a big supermarket, it used to be Aldi.
Yeah.
Go in there.
So where's this?
This
Alfreton.
is Alfreton, between Alfreton and Summercoats. It's
Yeah.
called the Anger,
Yeah.
right? And it used to be Aldi, and it's there. You go in there, you can spend your money, and there's also a very nice cafe there.
I wonder if it was.
That's called the Angle. 7 days a week.
So this is all, it's called dress dapper. So you dress dapper. It's a slow ride, so there's no safety gear. You need a helmet, of course. And so we all wander around for sort of 30 miles. We go through Castle House here in Derbyshire.
Sorry.
It's an amazing ride. You can go on new bikes, but the idea is that it's for cafe races or old bikes or sidecars, but there's all sorts of stuff that go. They tend to keep the new bikes at the back if you've got a new bike, and let the old, either BSA, you just saw that type of bike turns up. So it's a great event. There's about 400 bikes last year went in Derbyshire, and this year they started in Derby from this classic truck place that all the big
Northern Classics.
Northern Classics, yeah. And it's a sponsored ride. So if you get a chance, maybe Jason can send the link round and you might sponsor it. And that's it. That's it. Thank you for listening.
Very well.
Any more questions? We start it up briefly.
I won't do it for long because I'll throttle you in.
And it'll sit like that all day long. Go or what? Right up. Thank you. You're welcome.
There was 3 gentlemen, Johnny, James for the breathwork, and Ben for the cake and organising the walk. These gentlemen have given up their time, a bit of their own money to make it here, and all they ask for is if you could support some of the charities and organisations, mental health motorbike, the DGR, that's all they ask if you want to support them anyway. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's good to have you back. And
Yeah, good.
stick around, we'll pop some music on, have some coffee, and a little more cake to help. And thank you for coming. If you want to join our other events, I've got some, where are they? Event posters asking about. And you can chat to me if you want to go on our WhatsApp group to keep updated. And lastly, we have these motor event cards. So everyone can take one. You get stamped for all the events you come to, and at the end of the year, there's grand prize valued at £500. I can't give it in cash, unfortunately, but it's a storage, valet, tours, and a handbook. So keep these with you and have you been with me stuff. So thanks very much for joining.
Nice one. Thank you.
You got the bronze to that, Michael, didn't you? It's all right, yeah. Who's going to build one then? You're going to build one? You're going to get one? Ben, when your foot's good, you're going to build one?
Building the bike, the reason for
No, I was building bikes before I was supposed to. Yeah, I was building bikes before that. Yeah, well, and I was building cars before that. My wife was very fed up with me building cars before I started to build motorbikes. It's an amazing design. It goes back to the 30s and 40s. This is a lifetime design.
Not yet.
Okay. Looks like you'll get it.
No, I'm just adjusting to that.
The islands are
They're just literally talking about just.
well, that's a very good point. It's a great shot to get a bit set back. I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Beautiful, enjoy Graham.
Let me.
Claremont. Claremont, you know Claremont? Yeah. Was it a team Claremont? Yeah.